Hello friends, Ace Botany, next episode. In this episode, we'll be discussing a new chapter, that is Anatomy of Flowering Plants, first part. So I will share the screen and we can discuss what all things we'll be doing. I think screen came, so we can proceed. So in this chapter, that is Anatomy of Flowering Plants, more theoretical chapter, entrance point of view, normally 2 to 3 question comes. But in Anatomy of Flowering Plants, comparing with the previous NCERT, some topics have been deleted. Anyway, we can proceed. And in this episode, there will be an introduction, and we'll be discussing about tissues, types, and specifically meristematic tissues in detailed manner. Then after that, 5 theory question, 5 NEET model question with the key. So in NCERT, only 2 content they given. Here you can find 6.1 tissue system, 6.2 anatomy of dicotyledonous and monocotyledonous plants, dicot and monocot anatomy, stem, root, leaf. So NCERT starts with the tissue system. But in that term, the middle term is tissue. So I think better to start with the tissue, then we can enter into tissue system. So introduction, we can proceed to anatomy. See, the term anatomy comes from Greek. Ana means up. Cell cycle also we studied anaphase. Tome means cutting. Cutting, sectioning, all this. So anatomy means separate, cut, and study. That way the term comes. Father of plant anatomy, even though some scientist names are the more preferred is Nemia Grew, N. Grew. And photograph is given here, you can find. And the modern world, a great scientist in this field, plant anatomy, NCERT photograph, name is Catherine Isau. 1898 to 1997 NCERT, there is photograph of this great lady, Ukraine born. So she wrote some famous book in anatomy, like plant anatomy, anatomy of seed plants, etc. And according to Peter Raven, his comment was, she absolutely dominated the field of plant biology, even at the age of 99. That is regarding 2 famous scientists, Grew and Catherine Isau. Now we'll be entering into plant anatomy, study of internal structure, of which first idea is tissue. Then only tissue system we can proceed. So tissue. So tissue, we will be studying in zoology also. Here we are dealing with the plant tissues. So a tissue mainly means a group of cells having a common origin and usually performing a common function. That is what NCERT given. And tissue, that is study otherwise called histology. You will be remembering in zoology histology. Different classifications are available for tissues, like animal tissues, plant tissue, broad classification, broad to heading. Now we are concentrating in plant side. So plant tissues, again, many subdivisions are there. Meristematic tissue, permanent tissue, simple tissue, complex tissue. Likewise, it proceeds. Today, we'll be introducing the tissues, then anatomy, then meristematic tissue. Permanent tissue onwards, next episode, we'll be continuing. So we will continue our discussion with the plant side. So next idea for us is meristematic tissues. This way, not given NCERT, but without this, if we proceed, it will not be complete. That is why I given this even. Even the NCERT starts with the tissue system. See, the term meristem came from Greek, meristos, divided. And term meristem was given by Carl Nageli in 1858. Photograph you can find here. Now, what are the features of a typical meristematic tissue or meristem? They are immature cell. They have the ability to divide. They have dense cytoplasm. They have prominent nucleus. Cell wall is thin. Cell wall is made up of cellulose. Cells are closely packed. As a result, no intercellular spaces. Vacuoles may or may not be seen. Plastids are in developing stage or in proplastid stage. Ergastic substances are absent, non-living inclusion, that is the meaning, ergastic, because cell is developing, metabolically very active cells. The typical diagram to show a group of meristematic cells. I think that idea is clear. Now comes classification of meristem. I told you as such, these are not in NCERT, but if you know it, it is good, because through this only we can enter into tissue system. You have a clear idea when we study the topics. So classification of meristem, different classifications are available. Typical example, based on position, it is apical, intercalary, lateral meristem. Based on origin, promeristem, primary meristem, secondary meristem. Based on function, protoderm, procambium, ground meristem. This protoderm, etc., will be studying in second year sexual reproduction, flowering plants, embryology. Now, based on plane of division, mass meristem, rib meristem, plate meristem. So some classification just mentioned only. Now, next heading is, that is why I put that star. Not in NCERT, but if you know it is good. Theories of apical organization. Three famous theories, three. Apical cell theory by Nageli, at least headings. Histogen theory by Hanstein. Tunica corpus theory by Schmidt, which can have a synonym, Mandel and core theory. Then next is again not directly given, but that can be a question because it is a very important area. Quiescence and the concept by Claus. Quiescent means inactive. Plant growth and development, we studied it, dormancy and quiescence. Last chapter, sometimes we may not be reached there. So quiescence and the concept by Claus. Idea is, near to the center of the root apex, or at the center of the root apex, there is a zone of slowly dividing inactive cell, which will act as a reserve cell. One aim is replacing damaged cells. So that area is called quiescent center. Concept was given by Claus. Now, this diagram belongs to old NCERT. Now, it is not there in present NCERT. Still, first is root tip. Second was stem tip. So here you can find it is pointing downwards. Here is going or pointing upwards. So root and stem. So they've shown some labeling there. When it was there in the syllabus, NCERT itself, last edition, it was a tough diagram to label and draw because line diagram, just to show it, that's all. Now we can proceed to next heading. Now meristems, one by one, we can proceed. So meristem based on position. This diagram also not there in present NCERT. So apical meristem. Apical meristem are seen at the apices. From the term itself, we can guess tips of stem and root and branches. It can be root apical meristem, it can be shoot apical meristem. And what is the aim? It is concerned with the production of primary tissues, causing primary growth. It is mainly involved in increase in the length of the plant, lengthwise increase. That is apical meristem. Now connect with the apical meristem. See, we may be observed a plant bud. So plant bud is originally underdeveloped shoot. Different buds are there here, basically stem. So plant bud is originally underdeveloped shoot. Due to the action of shoot apical meristem, stem elongates and leaves are forming on it. So leaves will be born on stem. Morphology will be studying in a detailed manner. But some cells will be left behind from the shoot apical meristem. So this will be the diagram. Shoot apical meristem in the axils of the leaf. Axil means this position. And later forms axillary bud. It may continue the growth, axillary bud, that will be coming. Next, what is meant by the term axils? Everything I mentioned there, so it will be easy for you. Axil means it is the angle between upper surface of the leaf stalk. Suppose this is the stem and this is the leaf. So this point, that is supposed to be the axil, this point. I think idea clear. Axil. So axil means it is the angle between the upper surface of leaf stalk and the stem that bears it. Bud at the axil, here this is the bud, which is called axillary bud, can form a branch or a flower later. So I think that idea clear, how that bud has been formed in the axil, that gap, and what is the fate of it. That is apical meristem. Next is intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem means intercalated, mixed up. So intercalary meristem is seen between the mature tissues. These meristems are separated from the apex of the organ by the mature tissue. Apex will be apical meristem. So it can also relate with the increasing length of the plant. It can divide or its organ. Another interesting fact of this intercalary meristem, that was a previous question when this topic specifically was there in syllabus. Intercalary meristem is cattles will graze the leaf tips. So when the leaf tip is lost or stem tip is lost, specifically stem tip is lost by grazing cattles when they consume it, lost tips of grasses will be regenerated by the action of intercalary meristem. The fallen stem of certain grasses like cereals to become erect by intercalary meristem. So intercalary meristem in between, and they will help to regenerate the lost part where other cattle consume while grazing, and such a role is there for intercalary meristem. I think idea clear. Now, apical and intercalary meristems are primary in nature. Primary means they were present at the early part of life itself, and that can cause primary growth or primary plant body. That means simply increasing in length, apical and intercalary. Intercalary will also help to regenerate the lost cells while when cattle grazes. Now comes the last meristem under position, apical and lateral. Lateral meristem. The name itself we can guess. Next page I'll show you. So name lateral meristem indicates usually seen on the lateral sides of the roots and stem. And lateral meristem seen only in the later part, secondary stage, after a stage of life, that is after primary stage, initial growth, and mainly in stem and root. Lateral meristems are not present in all types of plants. There is an event called secondary growth, secondary thickening, present in NCERT not dealing in. This area we can find this lateral meristem. It is connected with the secondary thickening. Secondary thickening means increasing in girth. Radius will be increased. Lateral meristems also called secondary meristem because later stage it appears. They are involved in secondary tissue concerned with the secondary thickening, increasing in girth, present in NCERT, not dealing with the secondary growth. Typical example for secondary tissue, secondary xylem, secondary phloem, etc. And some examples of lateral meristem here you can find. That include fascicular vascular cambium. Fascicular means within the vascular bundle. Hence also called intrafascicular vascular cambium. Then interfascicular cambium, later form, meristematic tissue between the vascular bundles. Then finally cork cambium, effect of lateral meristem mainly for protection. Lateral meristems are secondary meristems. Exception is there, intrafascicular cambium. And here I wrote another thing. Lateral meristems are also called cylindrical meristem, connected with increasing girth. I think based on position, we have to study origin, then plane of division, position, origin, function, and plane of division. Of which a position we have to learn, others just namesake only. Now next is 5 theory question, 5 NEET model question with the key. Here you can find, is also given. So that is regarding an introduction and some basic aspects of plant anatomy, even though NCERT starts with the tissue system. So we started with the, what all things we'll be learning in this episode. Then what is given in NCERT and why we are passing through tissue. And there is introduction to famous scientists concerned with the plant anatomy, tissue definition, different classification. Then we entered into meristematic tissue detailed study, term meristem, then meaning, then Nageli photograph, then features of meristematic tissue, then classification of meristem based on position, origin, function, plane of division, then theories of apical organization, quiescent center concept by Cloves, reserve cell near the middle of the root apex, then 2 diagrammatic representation, root apex and stem apex, presently not there. Then we started with the based on position classification, apical meristem, intercalary meristem, lateral meristem, their function, which all are primary, which all are secondary, and what the intercalary meristem do when cattle grazes the plant body or tips of stem, etc. Regeneration, then primary nature, apical intercalary, then lateral meristem, sidewise, increasing girth, cylindrical meristem. Then that is seen only in certain plants, group of plants like dicots, gymnosperm, etc. Secondary thickening not in present syllabus. Then after that, we entered into 5 theory question, 5 NEET model question with the key. So next topic, we'll be discussing simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue, only briefing. Then we will enter into tissue system, though what NCERT starts with the syllabus. I think idea clear to all of you. If you like this episode, subscribe all, like it, share it, comment on it. We can meet later. Take care. Bye. Thanks.